Hello and welcome to Home Truths. I'm Nantara Rai. This is a special show to help answer all your queries on the real estate regulator bill passed last evening by Parliament. Here are our experts for the day. Hitesh Jain, the senior partner at ALMT Legal. He's going to be the voice of the buyers. And representing the builder community is Rohit Raj Modi, the Vice President of CREDAI, which is an umbrella organization of property developers. Through the course of this live episode, you can send us your queries to the Twitter handle at CNBC-TV18 News. Do use the hashtag RERA-bill. Now, before we go any further, let's just recap the top highlights of that bill. They're as follows. Real estate regulator is going to regulate both residential as well as commercial properties. The regulator is going to regulate consumers, builders as well as brokers. 70% of the customer advance will have to be kept in a separate escrow account, and that's to ensure project delivery. This bill has attempted to provide a proper definition of carpet area and has asked builders to quote price on the basis of a carpet area. It's also said same rate of penalty interest for both builders and buyers for project delays and late payments. It's advocated penalties on builders for project delays and said up to 3-year imprisonment for builders for repeated violations, and for buyers a maximum 1-year imprisonment in case they lodge false cases. Builders will have to return payment with interest for false advertising. And now the onus is on every state to adopt this model legislation and set up their regulatory bodies. So with that, let's get down to business and go to our guests with the viewer queries that have been coming in through the day and the ones we're getting live. So the first query that is coming in from GRSINL. How far can state governments go to dilute the clauses of the Act? Hope ongoing projects are taken in the ambit of the Act in Haryana, unlike some news already doing the rounds that's only going to be for new projects. Hitesh, I'm going to come to you first because you're representing the buyer, and obviously this is a very worried viewer that we've got, worried that, ongoing projects are not going to be under the ambit of this Act. We've already seen real estate developers come out with press release after press release saying it should only be for new projects. How do you see the situation? Do you think states should ensure that it is for all projects that haven't got a completion certificate? That is what is in the Act right now.
Well, if you look into the Act, it is applicable to the ongoing projects. But the Act also has a carve-out that those projects in respect of which all the approvals have come prior to the commencement of the Act, then those projects will be excluded. That is point number one. Insofar as state government is concerned, they cannot make any Act which is inconsistent with the provisions of the Act, because this bill clearly says that so far as they are consistent, the provisions will be applicable. In the case of inconsistency between the state and the central legislation, the central Act will be applicable in those cases. So basically the whole debate as to whether the question as to whether the state can dilute the provisions of the Act, the answer is straight no.
Okay, so that's a straight no. So that's the voice of the buyer coming in for you. There is a grey area, a window of opportunity for builders like yourself, Rohit Raj Modi. We saw the press release from CREDAI which said that this is a regressive move. It would lead to bureaucracy. It could lead to project delays. I would now imagine that builders will be asking the state governments to drop this proviso, to not include it in their state acts and make it only for new projects, and thus not have a retrospective effect. Am I right?
See, CREDAI has stated that inclusion of ongoing projects, which is right now envisaged in the bill, will create confusion. It will create stalling of some projects, because every developer who wishes to be on the right side of the law will have to take a pause in an ongoing project and stop the sales, will have to restructure the financing, will have to restructure the agreements, and then only carry forward. So our submission was limited to this extent that this would lead to confusion, and this needs to be addressed. CREDAI has wholeheartedly welcomed the Act and sincerely feels and believes that it's an Act which will lead to better transparency.
But you're trying very hard to ensure that all projects are not part of this Act, Rohit Raj Modi. We've seen the press releases. We've had developers on the channel since yesterday. They don't want ongoing and old projects included in this Act, and that would be a major disservice to all those customers that have been suffering.
Look, you have to understand that it is a fairly catch-22 situation. I'm not saying that it is something which is a very black or white. It's fairly grey, because while we completely have empathized with all those flat buyers or investors who are stuck in projects which have not been delivered for 8 years or 10 years, and the investor buyer has been made to suffer mental agony, financial agony, we completely empathize with that, and there has to be, this act does provide that solution to them. But at the same time, our petition or the request has been limited to only this aspect that this would lead to confusion in an ongoing situation. So there should have been a grandfathering provision. Any grand sweeping change or regulation which comes in force envisages a grandfathering period in which the existing projects can be phased out. There can be a time limit given that, okay, you complete an ongoing phase within next 1 year or 2 years, and thereafter the provision of act kicks in. Okay, but that's not been taken care of. We have to understand that real estate has a production cycle of 5 years. It's not producing an assembly line product in a factory. So when the production cycle is the midway, we are changing the game in the midway. So it will lead to confusion. We are not opposing it. We are not against it. We are putting a very practical point forward, because we do envisage that this can lead to a lot of litigation.
Okay, you're saying it can lead to litigation, it's going to lead to bureaucracy, red tape, project delays. I'm not sure if the buyers are going to agree with you on that one, just the way Hitesh was pointing out. Let's go to our next tweet of the hour right now. This is coming in from Sun Yogita. Penalties for late or no delivery applicable to projects under completion where 50% of occupancy is achieved, ? So Hitesh, I'm going to come to you first. Clearly this viewer is looking for some clarification that whether a builder is liable to pay penalties in case 50% of the occupancy has been achieved. What exactly does the Act say as of now?
Well, the Act does levy the penalty and all, and again it again relates back to the same discussion which we are having on the ongoing and the completion and other aspects.
Yeah.
But according to me, all this argue that if you do not make this Act applicable to the ongoing project, then frankly speaking, a lot of buyers will be rendered remediless. I mean, currently the problem, I mean, you have to look at the background in which this Act has been enacted, is also in respect of the buyers crying for transparency, accountability, one-sided agreement, and the fact that they are after depositing the money at the booking stage, after depositing, in fact in some cases 50 to 80% of money, the delivery, they have not seen the delivery for last 8 to 10 years. So basically this Act gives a very clear mandate that the developer has to adhere to the terms of the agreement, and if he promises that he is going to deliver, then unless there is a force majeure or something, then and if he is unable to complete the obligations, then the penalties will come straight into the action.
Right, that, we've got a lot of queries on this fact that when can they get penalties, and unless all projects are included in this Act, then they're not going to get the penalties, all these buyers that they actually are seeking, and what the Act, at least in Parliament, has sought and envisaged. Let's come to the next question now. This is coming in from Musaffar Global. Can you explain what all is now included in the carpet area? Hitesh, are you now happy there is finally some clarity on what basis prices can be quoted as well? Because there used to be so many hidden charges as well. So first up, I want you to explain to the viewer what all has been included in the carpet area and how building in prices only on carpet area can rewrite the property market landscape.
Okay, let me tell you first, this carpet built up area and super built up area. I will explain the phenomena. Now, carpet area under the Act is net usable area excluding the walls. So carpet area meaning only the actual area in the flat will be included. So all the super built up and other flower beds or whatever, like FSIs or passages, lift, lobbies. So what was happening is, in most of the projects today, there was a loading of 30%, 40%, 60%. So the loading has been removed and the price will be charging on the carpet area. But you must realize the difference between carpet area and super built up area. It is more of a marketing myth. To give you a perspective, suppose a flat is of 2000 square feet carpet area. Now it was being sold as 4,000 square feet as a saleable area. Now what they were quoting was that the marketing offer was given as 20,000 rupees for the 4,000 square feet flat. Now what will happen, instead of carpet area, the price is going to remain the same. So for the 2,000 square feet, now they will say instead of 20,000, a person will say 40,000 or 45,000. So according to me, by quoting a carpet area or saleable area, it is not going to change anything. However, this whole marketing or luring the buyer that you are being offered at a lesser price, and then when he realizes that the whole calculation when it comes to carpet area, he is paying much more. So to that extent, this act envisages a clarity. So in my view, what was happening, the attractive marketing that was happening in the market, I think that will go down and people will come straight away to the carpet area. For example, in state of Maharashtra also, in the agreement you are selling the flat on the carpet area basis. I mean, you may quote it on the saleable area and all, but ultimately if you will look at the documents with respect to sale of flat, you will see the price calculated on the carpet area. So it is just the jugglery of the prices that will happen. People will remove the super built up element and will add everything in the carpet area. So if people think that because of carpet area the prices will come down, I don't think that is going to happen. In fact, the carpet area price is going to be the same thing. This was just a marketing gimmick that was happening in the market.
It was just a marketing gimmick. There will be juggling of prices. So Rohit, let me come to you now. I would imagine now the price that will be quoted will seem much higher on a square foot basis, because that's how you're going to charge for the flower beds, the car parking, the clubhouses. They can't be a free. You're not going to give all of that away for free. You're going to make money on it. So you're going to perhaps increase the price on a square foot basis.
Let me start by clarifying, I think the misconceptions that we are carrying. There are essentially three areas that are normally talked about: carpet area, built-up area, and super built-up area. Carpet area is the wall-to-wall measurement of the internal dimensions of the room, excluding the wall thickness and excluding the balconies or flower beds in case of Mumbai. Because we cannot have a very Mumbai-centric discussion, because rest of India it really does not follow the Mumbai's norms of super area, etc. So the carpet area is essentially wall-to-wall, excluding the wall thickness. Built-up is when you add in the carpet the wall thickness and the balconies, oblique terraces, oblique flower beds. And the super is when...
So are you going to increase the price on a square foot basis?
No, we need to understand what it means actually. We need to understand what it really means, Super is not something imaginative as pointed out by the other panelists. It is a proportionate share of the built-up area which is outside your apartment. It's the lift well, it's the corridors, it's the staircase, it's the clubhouse, it's the ground floor lobby, it's the basement lobby, it's all those things. But yeah, now that the Act says that you have to sell only on the carpet area, so basically the carpet area, this will lead to is a symmetry of information, it will lead to transparency of information. A buyer would know exactly how much is the internal usable space that the buyer is getting. He would still pay the same price.
That's right. People that used to complain, I thought I booked a flat for 1,200 square feet but only got 800 square feet. I think those days might be behind us if the states adopt this provision which is there in the Act. Gentlemen, stay with us. We have to take a short commercial break. You're watching Home Truths, where we're getting experts to answer your queries on the real estate regulator bill.